And we are a pure housing provider. So in the end of the day, we are not IT. We are real estate. To put this, make it clear from the beginning. And let me quickly talk about, I have to look here because it's not working. Quickly talk about who is eShelter, to give you an idea. Some of you may heard about us, some not. If not, that's okay, because this was our policy. It's all about security. Our customers, they don't want to know that anybody knows where they are working, where the systems are running, okay? We are quite big, and I'm saying this not because I'm arrogant, because it's important. If you are a colocation provider, you have to be big. It's all about economies of scale. So we are by far the biggest colocation provider in the German-speaking countries, and we are growing fast. And we run several data centers, and you see some of them in the small pictures here, in Germany, in Zurich, and in Vienna. We bought some land in Amsterdam and in Madrid, so we want to grow. And we are in the market for 17 years now, and for 2 years, the Japanese NTT group bought us. So we are part of the NTT group now. And this is positive for us because we are investing a lot of money in new data centers, and NTT has some money to spend. So we are able to grow even faster. And we grew last year by 40% kilowatt hours. What makes us unique is also that we have the capability to build, to develop our data centers on our own. We build them, we run them, and we secure them, all with our own people, all on our payroll. And if you tell this to your customer, he likes it. You know, he understands that we are in a very narrow niche, but very deep. We talk about outsourcing, but we don't do it on our own. And especially at that moment, the customer likes it. And then we invite him, and then he sees it. In Frankfurt 1, which is down the road here, maybe 10 minutes drive from here, it's the largest data center in Europe, not by eShelter in general. It's a huge site, it's a 120 megawatt site, and we call it home to the cloud marketplace. And this is working really good. And we have some space also in Frankfurt 2, which is in the east. We have Frankfurt 3, which is in the south. And we're starting developing Frankfurt 4, which is another 90 megawatt site in direction of Wiesbaden. We have to start now because we want to sell something end of next year, and we are running out of space. We have a site in Berlin, we have 2 sites in Munich, we have 1 in Zurich, we have 1 in Vienna, and we just opened up 1 in Bonn, the former major city of Germany, also because the Bundesregierung, the federal government, is our customer, and we are the biggest landlord of the Bundesregierung. What makes us unique, I mentioned already, we have about 300 megawatt power in total on our sites, and again, we are part of the NTT group. So what is happening in the market? So all we know in that room that we are in a paradigm shift. You know, the old IT traditional model is not working anymore, and the customer are moving. They make the IT transformation towards a hybrid IT. It's not all about cloud, but mainly about cloud. The point is, if you are a customer, you like it because you look at this side. You know, I pay only what I get. I use software as a service, I use infrastructure as a service, or platform as a service, or whatever. You pay what you use. On the other side of the pyramid, it's still the same. There has to be somebody running the hardware and the software, right? And still, you have to have something called Rechenzentrum or data center, the physical infrastructure. Again, it's not IT, but without us, the IT is not working. And this is still the same. More or less for us as eShelter, nothing changed. Nothing. Yes, of course, something changed. Our customer changed. So my customer is not the banking account anymore out of Frankfurt, but maybe it's one of the hyperscalers. And it is the case. And I tell you what, they are growing fast, really fast. And I agree with John, so we are in the middle of a huge revolution. And yes, enterprise data centers we won't see anymore in the near future because most of the infrastructure will be with colocation providers or with the hyperscalers itself, and for a certain extent, like eShelter. Excuse me. So we are closely work with our customers, and we run a huge network of partners, advisors, that may be McKinsey or Bearing Point or Accenture we are talking to. It's important for us because we're a very small sales force, and we generate most of our leads through this partner network. And makes a lot of sense. Because in the very beginning, if a large customer or even a small customer thinks about the IT transformation, he's talking to a consultant. He's not able to manage on his own. And the consultant should know what's about the colocation, what's about the data center at the end of the day. So the relevance of an own data center decreases heavily. But the relevance of a colocation or a marketplace or home to the cloud marketplace, like we call it, is increasing heavily. So that's why people like McKinsey or Accenture should know our name. They know, and they bring us into the leads in a very early sales cycle stage, right? And also we talk to enablers like system integrators, or we talk to HP or IBM and all the old IT outsourcing companies, and they are also our customers. So all the IT companies you think about, outsourcers, they're all our customers. I'm allowed to tell you because it was more or less in the press in the last 10 years. So HP is our customer, IBM, T-Systems, CSC, Atos, and so on. And what is even as important, the hyperscalers are our customers. And I'm not allowed to tell you who. Some of you are doing business with hyperscalers. They know, they will agree, you're not allowed to talk about. And I don't do. However, it's the case. So they are here in Germany with some of the colocation providers. They don't have own data centers. I doubt that they will have own data centers in the future. And they are mainly with us. What does it mean? It means the following. And we discussed this morning already some kind of customer scenarios. And what the customers are doing, this depends on the business they're talking about. So some of their business, like maybe R&D, they never will put in any public cloud or any private cloud. They will keep. But they don't keep it in their on-prem data center because maybe they have no data center anymore. They will put it off-prem. And this is our standard business as a colocation provider. So on a very high security, very high availability, very high energy efficiency level, the customer, this is the left picture, put his whatever R&D IT with his own hardware, with his own IT stuff in a colocation, E-suite call it, or E-cage, whatever size he is asking for, in our data center. And part of his business, he will put with a private cloud provider because he's big enough, he wants to use the positive aspect of cloud, but as a private cloud on a global basis, for example. Like customer relationship management or ERP or whatever. And because a lot of these companies are our customers, they are nearby. Maybe they're in the next building on our huge campus in Frankfurt 1. So now think about the latency issues, think about the cost issues, think about the security issues in a positive way. And even better, if he wants to put something, maybe not so sensitive data, into a public cloud or for whatever reason, even these guys are around in the even next building. Now think again about latency, cost, security, and that's why we invested, we call it eConnect, in connection in between. So now, at least at that point, we are no pure colocation provider anymore. Now we are starting taking care of the communication between these hybrid IT elements. We call it eConnect. This could be a data center connect we are running. This could be a data center connect, I mentioned already. What else? Okay, sub-connects. In total, it's hybrid IT, and that's what the customer are following, right? It's not all about the cloud, public cloud aspect. So that's what you saw to a certain extent, the colocation. This is our business we're doing for 17 years, and we are still growing. And we don't growing up the ladder on service-wise aspects, but we are growing regionally wise. So we bought some land in Amsterdam. We will build a new data center in Amsterdam. In Madrid, we have a NTT sister company in London, and we will build a new data center in London, and we will develop Frankfurt 4 and so on. So huge demand we see upcoming. And yes, we do see some OCP on a data center infrastructure level coming up, and we are working on it. With John's support, tomorrow, for example, in an internal workshop. Connectivity I mentioned, a lot of connectivity. We have 350 carriers on site in Frankfurt 1, 16 plus cloud connects. You get into the cloud, like Direct Connect or Express Route. We have a partner ecosystem, which is very important for us, and you will see it again in a minute. And what's brand new is the eShelter Innovation Lab, and I heard this morning that some of you are already being partnered with us in the Innovation Lab soon. And the idea behind the Innovation Lab is that hybrid IT is very complex for all of us, even for the customer, or of course for the customer. And especially the German customer wants to test it up front, wants to set up a POC, right? And it's so complex to test or to set up a POC. And I was with a major automobile manufacturer in Stuttgart the other day, and the lady told me it takes them 12 months to set up a POC. In a huge company, it takes you 12 months to get the space in the data center, to get the budget, to get the hardware vendor shipping it, okay, and then you have one hardware vendor shipped it. Takes you 12 months. After 12 months, you should test it because probably there's another technology up, right? So that's what we did. We invested in space. It's an e-colocation cage. And we invited, we call them eShelter Business Technology Partner, to invest also in hardware, middleware, software, whatever. And all the names you see here, the logos, except them here, this is planned, but all the others, they're already invested. And even the hyperscaler invested being there, and you see quickly the idea behind it, to get the customer into this innovation lab together maybe with his partner to test the IT he's thinking about. And he's testing it at the right place because we are in the middle of the marketplace. We are near the hyperscalers. And we have all these nice leading edge technology providers already upfronted investing in the innovation lab. And you're invited to join us. And the feedback we get, and this is up and running since maybe 7 or 8 months, is very positive. Not only by the technology providers or by the partners bringing the customer in, especially by the customer themselves. Because it's so clear, the idea. You have to support your customer testing it, and if he tested it at the right place and now wants to deploy it, he is still at the right place. What at the end of the day, of course, is our idea, to get him as a customer, colocation customer. Okay? So I have another 4 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
3.5.
3.5, okay. Shit. 3.5 minutes. I'm saying this because I was very quick now through my slides because I have only 50 minutes and I have to leave in 1 hour here. So I would invite you to ask questions if you have questions now, because I'm not with you later this afternoon. If you have some questions, please, at the auditorium. Otherwise, we can do it face-to-face later on.
So as part of the NTT group, which is massive, is there a plan for eShelter to offer more than just real estate, to offer cloud services?
No. As NTT, yes, there's the NTT Com and the Dimension Data, and there's some offerings around, but not for eShelter. So we are pure housing provider with some additional services like this, because it makes sense in the eyes of the customer. But as I said, we want to grow, of course, but regionally. So you want to build new data centers in new regions. Anything else doesn't make sense for us. So there's a lot of competition out. To a certain extent, there are customers, and we don't have the knowledge. We have the knowledge in here. And I think we have a good reputation. We are growing fast. And the main issue, by the way, that's what I want to say, before the hyperscaler probably not able to build own data centers. And although they have a CapEx, OpEx issue, right? It's so difficult to get land, for example, in Frankfurt, and maybe 90% of the business in Frankfurt, by the way. All our competition is in Frankfurt. They all want to come to Frankfurt. It's because of the internet exchange, it's because of the existing colocation and cloud provider here in Frankfurt. And what I want to say is it's so difficult to find new land with no overflight, with no raised water, with enough power. You know, it's complicated to get 90 megawatts from 2 Umspannstationen into one data center site, right? And the carriers, and so on, and so on. So this will be a, in German you say, kostbares Gut,
Yeah.
valuable good, the data center. This was different. You know, I was 20 years with HP. When we sold a lot of hardware 15 years ago, we were laughing at a piece of raised floor in the end of the corner, right? Today, the people don't laugh anymore about the data centers. Today, we laugh about the hardware to a certain extent, right? Because if the server is defect, you may want to get rid of it. But to have the data center at the right place, with the right flexibility, with the right power, on the right pricing, with the right flexibility and agility, is a valuable good. Meanwhile, this is changing fast. Somebody else, please, John?
Marcus, can you just talk a little bit about where OCP might fit in to the co-location model in the next couple of years?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for that question. Yes, to be open, there's no customer yet with us asking for OCP. But we get some vibration that this will change soon. And this is why we have to be prepared. It's not so complex for us, and we will have some support in the house. And again, we have our own design centers. So to put it in a nutshell, this will be a different data center with less investments, like John said this morning. So we get rid of the raised floor and rid of the USP and rid of something. But this is something we have to do because the customer comes then to us with an expectation to rent OCP space for a much lower price. But we will have less investments, so this will fit again, but it's something we have to be prepared. So there will be a unique floor in a building or maybe a whole building called OCP data center for certain customers coming up. And I have the feeling that there are not only the hyperscalers asking for, but also big banking accounts or others asking for this. That's what we are expecting.
And from what you know of your competitors, like Equinix or any of these guys, are they having similar discussions around OCP, do you think? Or
I'm sure they have.
Yeah.
I don't have any details, of course, but I'm sure.
Okay.
John?
How are you ready for the GPU intense compute that's going to really start to bump up the power loadings in the racks? Where do you see that? Do you see that as a potential issue in the future? Within the hyperscale OCP, GPU computing is coming in, it's huge now. And we're seeing racks at 24 kilowatts a rack in big clusters, let's say 48 racks. I see this as a big issue in the future. Have you got any ideas? Is it going to happen?
It's an issue because that needs a lot of flexibility on our side. And we have that issue already to a certain extent because a standard customer, an end customer, is asking for a kilowatt per square meter. In the end of the day, he probably needs 800 watt. That's typically what happens. He needs less. So you build your buildings, for 1 kilowatt per square meter infrastructure. The hyperscalers, they are asked at least for 3 kilowatts, maybe for 4 kilowatts. This is a totally different thing. And they don't ask for tier 3, by the way. They ask for tier 2. Because they have their availability issue solved on a very higher level. So totally different. So this, for e-shelter, means different buildings, different floors, so we changed a little bit, for different customers. And this maybe get even worse with even more packed solutions. So technically wise, this is something you can solve. So we had a project with Airbus in Hamburg, where we had about 18 kilowatts per rack, and we did it on a cooling hex unit by the rack. This piping in the raised floor, so you have your hex cooling, the hex unit, the cooling in the rack. And you can go up to 30 kilowatts per rack cooling.
So are you saying, because I was talking to, where's he gone? This man at the back here, Dave. We're talking about liquid cooling in data centers because how do you get the heat out? Because when you go above 20 kilowatts in a rack, trying to get it out with air is a bit of a problem. You're going to have to supplement some kind of
Right.
liquid cooling.
Right.
Do you think data centers are ready for that, these liquid cooling solutions? You've done it. It sounds like you've kind of touched on the edge of it. But is that going to be a big problem?
Difficult to ask. You know, only a very few customers asked for it in the past. I don't know where we come to with the hyperscalers. I don't know yet. You know. But again, this is a positive aspect with eShell. We have the capability to solve this in-house with our own people. So if you so want, we wait for the demand by the customer, and then we will find a solution. I'm not sure yet. So the hyperscalers today, they're asking for 3 kilowatts, full stop. Any more questions? Otherwise, I'm still around maybe next 45 minutes. If so, otherwise, Frank has my contact details and happy to hear from you. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.